What's up, you beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of the Unaligned and Unfiltered podcast. I'm your host, The Twisted Wanderer, and in today's episode, we're going to be breaking down some myths about being disabled, scoliosis, and healing in general. Just wanted to take time to talk about a few topics I feel like would be really good to talk about with all of you, relatable, and share some life experiences that I have. Um, yeah, just share my examples of these things that we're going to talk about. So, this episode again is for anybody with a disability, scoliosis, chronic pain, or maybe you have someone in your life who has one of these things and you are just trying to better understand what they may be going through. So, with that said, let's scoliosis into the episode. All right, guys. So, I want to start off by saying productivity isn't healing. I'm going to say it again. Productivity isn't healing. Because healing may be a lot of things. Healing for sure is a lot of work. A lot of work goes into healing. But that doesn't mean that we need to rush and become like this version of ourselves that we feel like is better than who we are now. Say it like that because I am on my healing journey and I'm noticing things where maybe I'm just not nice to myself. And if I know one thing is throughout this journey is I know I'm not alone. So I just know sharing these types of lived in experiences can be really beneficial for all of us. So I want to start off by talking about once you get onto your healing journey and start learning more, maybe about your diagnosis or the past medical trauma or traumas of your life that you pretty much weren't taken care of before. Like I know I've mentioned, like my past coping mechanism was alcohol, dealing with like grief and losses and things like that. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. The mental load of starting this healing journey. And yes, so let me just break it down. What I mean by mental load is the pressure and the self-inflicted like pain and shame we put on ourselves for maybe taking too long to understand that we need to do the work to get better. It can be a lot. It can feel like, fuck, I've wasted my whole life, right? Like if you think about it from my perspective, I've been fused for about 8.5 years, a little bit, I think a little bit more than that. I'll be 9 years in September. So when I think about it from that perspective, I think of like, wow, how much time of my life have I spent without boundaries for my body, boundaries for my mental health, how many years I spent not living authentic to my spine and to my body and my health. And that can be a lot. It can make us feel as if like it is too late to start. And I know I talk about this a lot. It's never too late to start, but that doesn't take away the feeling that you feel like it's too late to start, that you're beating yourself up. I, for one, am very good at making myself feel like a shit. So, I know it's like our go-to. And especially online with like social media and the community and things like that. You have to like, there's a fine line of being inspired and comparing ourselves, right? So we had a really good conversation about this in an episode that you guys will see in June. And how to point out those lines, how to understand that yes, it's good to be inspired by people who are similar, who share similarities with you, who are on this healing journey, who are learning about themselves as well. But it's really important to not compare yourself along the way, because take everything with a grain of salt with social media. It's impossible to see everything. I try my best to kind of like paint this picture of like, I'm trying, but I don't have it all figured out. And I think sometimes we can think that other people do have it all figured out, And we can use that as a weapon against ourselves to not go on this healing journey, or to feel like, wow, they have it all figured out. Like, what the fuck was I doing with my life these last 8.5 years, or stuff like that. So it's just really important to notice this, to sit with this, and to maybe see how you're feeling when you are seeing other people online who share these similarities with you. And if you're feeling guilt or shame, that's normal. I have felt guilt or shame, but the important part is to know that it's not too late. And while you're on your healing journey, it's okay. It's supposed to be a long journey. That's, I guess, my biggest thing to you all is it's supposed to be a long journey, and it's really hard to compare ourselves when we're on this journey, not to compare ourselves when we're on this journey, because we can almost be like, well, I want to be where they are. I want to know all my boundaries of my body. I want to know the movements of my body. I want to know how to live this beautiful, authentic life for myself, like today. Right? Like, that's how I feel. As soon as I started this, I was like, holy business, there's so much to learn. And I was like, there's so little time. I've been wasting 8.5 years. Like, I want to know everything now. But that's just not the case. And I wanted to talk about this because I have to remind myself daily that healing isn't linear, that it does take time. And in moments where I am comparing myself and wishing maybe I started sooner to learn about my body, it's important to take a beat and to sit with that and to let your emotions feel heard and validate them, journal them. I'm big on that. I need to journal more, but I think you guys should definitely be keep a journal. So that's my little tidbit on that, and I kind of just want to jump into where this can show up in your life, where it has showed up in my life. When I say productivity isn't healing, what I mean by that is kind of what I just said, like wanting to learn all of this, right? And kind of putting yourself on a time limit. There is no time limit for learning all of this. You have, as long as you're starting to learn something, I feel like that's amazing, right? That's how I got started on this journey. And the mental load of, kind of give you an example, like personally for me, creating podcasts, right? Like wanting to learn more about myself, share my lived in experience for people like all you amazing listeners who may share similarities. But with that comes the consistency to film podcasts, to sit down, to edit, to learn more about that while you're kind of on this healing journey. And I love it, but there can be days where I make myself feel like shit because if I'm so tired and unable to motivate myself, like I do have ADHD. I suffer with a lot of my ADHD symptoms. They've honestly gotten a lot worse as I've grown older, and they do affect my self-care. And that is an episode for the future. But today we're talking more along the lines of not making yourself feel like shit. So a way that I can create a boundary for myself, or maybe rethink success for myself, is saying, okay, well, today I woke up and it was a bad Russian roulette day, right? Like a bad chronic pain day. My energy levels are low, and thing that we do to ourselves is we push through. That is something I know I have done my whole life. I know a lot of people who have disabilities, who have scoliosis, that have done this. They push through. And that's what I mean by productivity isn't healing. Because you're not holding space that you are tired, that you are fatigued, that maybe today isn't a good day. And maybe that means being inconsistent when your content comes out and things like that. But someone who talked a lot about this online and kind of like inspired me to talk about this is so sorry, I only know her Instagram and I don't know her actual name, but it's called Seated Perspectives on Instagram, and they talk about how important it is to to not push to not push that productivity, because at the end of the day you're not honoring yourself and your body and your feelings that are telling you, hey, let's take it easy today, because you want to be consistent or build, like I'm trying to do, like build a community. But how they explain it is the best way that you can show up for your community that you're trying to build and for yourself is to honor your body when it tells you no. And maybe that's for one day or 2 days, or maybe it's for a week, or maybe it's a month. But as long as I feel like that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to show up authentically to let you all know it's okay. We don't have to be this like positive person all the time. We have to hold space for our disability, for our chronic pain, for our flare-ups. We have to take them into accountability, and we have to take them into consideration, and we need to hold ourselves accountable and honor our boundaries and our body. So that's what I really mean by productivity isn't healing, because healing is what I'm learning is to sit with these emotions and say, okay, well, what could creating a podcast look like today? Or what could creating content look like today? Could I do like a podcast from my bed and just sit with my laptop and talk to you on audio instead of a video one day? Maybe that's an idea I just came up with on those really hard days where maybe I still want to put out content, but maybe I don't have the energy to get ready and sit down and do it like this. Maybe it will look different. The key here is to understand that you are different and you are unique and you have this disability that may be variable, such as myself. Or I feel like a lot of like disabilities can be variable. But what I'm trying to say is that find out what your productivity can look like on a bad day. And if that means absolutely nothing, that's fucking great. That in itself is productive and healing, because you are validating yourself. The hardest thing with like just forcing positivity and forcing to be productive when you really don't have it in you, it's pretty much just self-neglect. And that's what I'm learning. And it's really hard to learn that maybe you've been self-neglecting yourself. And again, right there with you. The important part is, I feel like I'm being so repetitive this. I'm like, just sit with it, sit with it. But it's true. That's really like the biggest thing I'm learning about healing is that everything needs to be sat with. It needs to be felt, because if you don't feel it now, I'm sure it over and over again, pushing past like your line or your boundaries that are needed to live this beautiful, authentic life, it may cause you to burn out. That is huge. You don't, I mean, burnout, it does happen, but you don't, and I don't say you, like you don't want to be the cause of your own burnout, but I have been the cause of my own burnout, and it sucks. Like you don't want to add to the plate of shit that already burns us out, and now you're burning yourself out. Think about all the things we have to do on a daily basis that like already is tiring. And now you have this thing, say my podcast or creating content that you want to do, but you've done all the other stuff for the day and you just don't have it in you. That's okay. The important thing is to just show up authentically, Share your stories. That's what I try and do with all of you, and just let the next person in line know it's okay, that these feelings are valid. That just because society, I feel like, has created this like myth of the inspirational disabled person that we have to live up to. And that's just not fucking it. Like, just because I have something hard that I went through, it doesn't mean that I have to fucking inspire you every day and be fucking positive and fucking push past things that are gonna hurt me in the long run. And my most recent example is I woke up 2 weeks ago in so much fucking pain. But I went to work that day. And granted, I work from home now. But I sit in a chair all day. I sit at a desk. It's not quite comfortable. This chair sucks, if anyone was wondering. Um, um, and I pushed myself through. And what made that worse is my weekend. My weekend kind of sucked. It was kind of just like, okay, well, now that I pushed through Friday, I know I'm going to have to rest more on Saturday. I know I'm not going to be able to do things that I wanted to do this weekend because I pushed through on Friday to go to work, and now my pain is worse. And yeah, that's a me problem. I feel like that's a we problem. I feel like we are just born into something that just makes you feel like more work is better, and I gotta like hit the ground running and all this shit. But at the end of the day, the best way to live is with boundaries and with respect for your body and its needs and your needs, your mental needs, your emotional needs. All of this is so, so important on the path to healing. And once you understand that, like, it's like, whew, you can take a breath, because you don't have like this outside pressure, because you're not feeding into that anymore. It's not your responsibility to inspire other people. It's not. I personally, do I hope I inspire people to share their stories? And do I want to build an amazing community of people where we can share our similarities and our stories? Yes, absolutely. But that's on everyone's own time. I felt ready to share what I've been learning. I felt lonely from years of isolation and being misunderstood. I didn't like the way my life looked. I was extremely depressed before I found the Scully community, or just more disabled people with so many different disabilities. Like, I feel more connected with my like community, and that's the biggest takeaway from the start of this journey, is just the community that it brought me. But it's just, I feel like society as a whole just makes us feel like we need to be positive, and it's almost like we're being positive for them because maybe they can't understand or feel comfortable with a disability and how it does cause pain and hiccups in our everyday life and life in general. But that's not our fucking problem. So hold space for yourself. That is healing. That is the best way. I hope that makes sense. Like, I'm just speaking from the heart right now. With this episode, like, it's a heartfelt episode of just me speaking my truth and like how I've seen things come up and how I feel like it's just unfair that I feel like a lot of people with disabilities kind of have like this burden of needing to feel like this inspirational being. But at the end of the day, fuck yeah, we are inspiring. We persevere. We're fucking amazing. But guess what? I don't need to be positive and inspiring every day, all day. Some days I just want to sit in the fucking shower and literally just sit there. Some days I can't even do a full body shower because I'm just chronically tired. So you just sit there. Or maybe healing, like again, being productive isn't healing. Maybe not pushing through your shower and realizing you need a shower chair. Some, like it can be little things like that. Or like personally for me, when I'm cooking, I used to just push through the pain and be productive and cook. But now after some like healing and being on this journey and talking to other people, I pull up a chair and I sit and I cook. So it's breaking down all the fucking bullshit that I feel like has been fed throughout like society and shit, and just kind of breaking it down layer by layer, piece by piece, and again, redefining what success is to you and how your success is. Because at the end of the day, I feel like all our success is different. And we just need to be happy and at peace with ourselves. That is success to me at this point in time in my life. And I want everyone to get there. And that's not to say, again, healing isn't linear. Some days, I'm still trying to rewire those thoughts in my head that directly go to, oh, you're so lazy. Oh, just push through. Oh, like it takes time. This isn't just like, it doesn't magically happen overnight. So just knowing that you don't need to be brave or inspiring every day. Maybe if you create content, maybe showcase that. Like showcase today's a bad day. People are gonna appreciate that so much more than they're not. And I don't know if that made sense. I digress, I feel. But I'm just very passionate about this subject because I feel like a lot of us are just so mean to ourselves, and we need to get better about it because it's just so important. That way we're just able to, get to the point where we can live authentically and we're able to acknowledge that means taking a beat and just validating our pain by sitting with our pain and not pushing through and not trying to get it all done because you do so much already. So take the time that is needed to take care of yourself because that is healing. Healing is rewiring all those thought processes, all the things that they tell you that work hard, play hard, like bullshit that I feel like I've heard my whole fucking life that never really made sense, but I just like, I don't know, not went with it. But again, when you're isolated, like how I was isolated, I didn't know anyone else with a fusion or scoliosis, like you kind of just keep going. And all of a sudden, speaking from personal experience, life catches up and you're like, well, I'm sad. I'm depressed. What happened? When did I get here? And how did this happen? And I feel like once you get there, you can really start to peel off the layers, start to understand yourself better, start to break the myths of ableism society, okay? Learn like what ableism is and that it has affected you. Like that has been huge on my healing journey. Just like noticing things that were ableism, but I didn't know that they were because I just thought that was just people being assholes. But now I know, like, well, that's something an ableist would say, fucking dude. Sorry, not being nice to the ableist people, but I got time for that. Again, healing, something that like just comes out to me right away that, oh, you're too young to be in pain. That is a huge saying that was said to me so many fucking times. But like now that I can put like, not like everything needs a label, but it's nice to know that other people in the community who I've like spoken to and like gotten to meet online, they have stories of this. And now that I kind of know, it's just like, I can't explain it. It's just like a full circle moment. You're kind of realizing like the things that you went through alone, someone else was going through them too. But maybe like you've never met them. And now I'm getting to meet them and talk to them. And it's like, whoa, like, holy crap, this is pretty cool and eye-opening. So that's like my little tidbit on that. I don't know. I just had to share that. Moving on though, my biggest takeaway here is listen to your body. If you need rest that day, rest. Just because you're just finding out more about your diagnosis, your disability, and how to live your authentic life, there is no time limit on this. It's just you have to be ready and you have to just be curious. I think, like I said, for me, it was just being extremely sad and wondering, like, life caught up. But my biggest takeaway is that please honor your body, live your most authentic life. And if that means not doing something, then that means not doing something. Don't push through, because when we push through, we invalidate our pain and we kind of take a step back towards healing. And again, it's going to happen. It happens with me. Healing isn't linear, but it's knowing when it's happening. And that's really been helpful for me. Like, knowing that, like, hey, Jack, you did that. That wasn't very nice to you. How about you do this next time, or try and do this next time? And not sitting, if you have ADHD, not sitting in the shame, because that is something I've been in my whole fucking life. I'm trying to break it. It is a very long process, but fuck sitting in that shame. I know how terrible it is, and I fucking hate to know that all of you beautiful people may experience that. That literally hurts my soul. So my advice, be nicer. Healing isn't linear. You are enough. You are doing enough. Even on the days that you do nothing, you are not lazy. You're a beautiful human being who's been given these cards, and you're doing the best that you can with these cards. And I'm proud of you. I am proud of you. So I hope you are proud of yourself, and I hope you do take some advice. And yeah, love you. Okay. Moving on, though, I kind of want to go into our new segment here, Twist and Tell. Didn't do it in the last episode, but Twist and Tell is going to be a segment. We're going to see it a bit more often, slowly but surely. But Twist and Tell, I want to know this week, what does support look like for you? Personally, for me, like support that you want, right? Because kind of tying into what we just talked about. Because if you do tell someone, oh, I'm having a bad day, like this is just a really bad chronic fatigue day, and maybe they just don't understand, and they're like, oh, just push through, like, you know, or whatever they may say. That's not the support that I would be looking for. And like, to me, I guess I don't have my answer yet. Like, again, healing. So I kind of just want to learn and know, what does good support look like to you all? Write in, tell me your stories about maybe a time where you were just looking for support, you didn't get the support that you needed. How, or maybe that still happens, right? That's a big thing as you heal. It's kind of putting those boundaries in place and expressing to the most important people in your life what the best support would look like for you. And that's something I'm still working on. So I would just love to hear from you all to see what good support looks like for you with your disability, with your chronic pain, and things like that. So please, if you want to share, please email me, twistedwanderer418@gmail.com, and I will feature your answers in future episodes. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much it for today's episode. I just want to end by letting you all know you are more than your pain. You're more than your diagnosis. You're so much more than all of that. But I feel like sometimes maybe we feel like that's all we are. So something that I also am, besides having scoliosis and a disability, I'm also a big lover of reading books. I love writing poetry. It's something I'm finally picking up again. After like starting therapy and my healing journey, it's like actually able to write my pain again, which is cool. So I share this because we are so much more than our diagnosis. And I think at the end of the day, we're just characters seared with scars. There's a really, really great quote, and I'll read it to you guys real quick, if you don't mind. It's on my website, and I love this quote. It's just really stuck with me throughout my whole life since surgery. And I want to say it here because I need you to remind yourself that you are more than your diagnosis. You're more than your disability. You're more than your pain. You probably have so many amazing things about you, right? So if you want to write in, twist and tell that. Tell me things. Tell me who you are, what you love. So, okay. So this quote is, out of suffering have emerged the strongest souls. The most massive characters are seared with scars. Khalil Gibran. And that's what I want you to understand as you're on this healing journey, as you're trying to set those boundaries, as you're trying to rewire your brain to not be mean to yourself, to not call you lazy when you're not productive. Lean on that. Lean on all the other things that you're good at, that you love, because you are just a beautiful being, and you are so much more than that, and you're a beautiful character. Are you seared with scars? Are these the cards that you have been given? Of course, but you're beautiful, and you're so much more than that. So that was a little bit about me. I love rock climbing and writing and reading, and I'm a fur mommy. Love my cats and dogs. I'm a wife. So just reminding yourself of all the beautiful things that you are on those hard days can be very helpful. And just know that I am here for you. I support you, and you're going to be okay. And if you absolutely ever need anything, please, as always, my emails are open and anything like that. So don't think I had any more announcements, but please go not announcements, but like that's the end of the episode. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you haven't already, things that are going to be more active coming up is going to be Discord. That is going to be my stomping ground. I am going to start weekly themes for days of the week, talking to all of you, getting more connected, building our community on Discord. So that is my goal. So if you aren't on Discord already, the invite link will be on the podcast of this episode. I'm going to be making more announcements about it. But I'm really excited to speak with all of you, grow community over there, and hopefully the goal is maybe by um, like 2026, possibly do an in-person meetup and meet some fused peoples in person. How fucking cool would that be? And anyone disability, scoliosis, chronic pain, just I'm really excited to continue doing this with all of you, and I thank you for letting me be inconsistent all the times that I have been because of my mental health, because of my disability. It's been a long ride back to doing weekly podcasts, but here we are. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening and for following me on my journey. And yes, I can't say thank you enough. So Discord, please go follow me on YouTube. The Let's Scoliosis series will be coming out June, July. So if you aren't already, you're going to need to go to the Twisted Wanderer on YouTube, subscribe to that to be updated on there. The Twisted Wanderer YouTube also does upload the Unaligned and Unfiltered podcast. It's just in its own separate playlist. So that is also on there. And then again, I am on TikTok _ the Twisted Wanderer, Instagram, the Twisted Wanderer, twistedwanderer418@gmail.com. If you have any questions, want to collab, or be on future episodes of this podcast, please reach out. But until then, take care of yourself and find beauty in every curve of your life. Bye.